dark. Someone buried? Someone buried? Is there a dead body right here?
Is someone buried here? That's a great question.
Break the wall.
Speaking of,
Right here.
So we've come here at a great time of day. This is the perfect time to visit Washington Square Park, actually, right now at dusk. We've almost survived the whole ghost tour, so kudos so far to everyone. And I'd like to save this stop for near the end of the tour, so it will be nice and dark when we get here. So the fireflies will be coming out, because I consider the fireflies to be kind of a harbinger of the ghost. There went one right there past the tree, of the ghost who haunts this park. Because the ghost who haunts this park is most often described as a strange and spectral entity, an odd-looking woman, sometimes they call her, who would light her way with a lantern. So I know that I'm looking a little suspicious out here, fitting her description. All strange and spectral and lantern lighted. But there's a big difference between myself and Leah, as she's called, the ghost of Washington Square Park, because you have seen me walking along the sidewalks tonight, but Leah is said to be seen gliding about as though her feet are trailing just a few inches above the grass, and as such she can move with great speed, and she will come rushing up to groups of people just out here enjoying the park, holding her lantern high, sweeping right toward them with no intention of stopping. And if she comes toward you, you don't wait around to find out what she wants. You simply flee, screaming usually, out of the park. Now, she's been reported as early as we find diary entries from people who lived around the square here when this was an up-and-coming neighborhood in the early 1800s when Washington Square Park was established. And they speak of her on a first-name basis. They seem almost friendly with her. They say Leah was on her rounds again last night. They speak of her being on her rounds or her patrols. Well, this was a good clue. This actually helped us at the Ghost Tour of Philadelphia track her down. We think we know who she really was in life. In the 1700s, there was a Quaker nurse by the name of Leah who worked over at Pennsylvania Hospital. And she was very troubled by the idea that some of her patients may pass away and be laid to rest here in the square, only to be disturbed some hours later by grave robbers. Why this particular square? Because this square throughout the 1700s became the city's potter's field. Now, the square has been here as long as Philadelphia has been here, but it wasn't always Washington Square Park. William Penn, in his original plan for the city, had hoped that people would use this area as we're using it now to get out and get some fresh air and enjoy nature. But in the 1700s, they really had a more pressing need for this open land. They needed at times more space to bury people. And so during the Revolutionary War, when the British held prisoners of war in Walnut Street Jail right across 6th Street there, when people would die there in the jail, as many soldiers did, they would be laid to rest right here in the city's Potter's Field. During the yellow fever epidemic, when those death carts would go around the streets, they would bring that cargo here to the Potter's Field, where yellow fever victims were buried in mass anonymous graves. All told, throughout the 1700s, more than 5,000 people were laid to rest right here in this very square. And then in the 1800s, when they turned the square into Washington Square Park, they never exhumed or relocated those bones. So whatever does remain of them lies mixed with the soil deep beneath our feet tonight. And that is why we believe there could be 5,000 ghosts roaming around this square on any given night. And as we look out around in the shadows tonight, we see shadowy figures. We don't know which of them are among the living and which may be on the other side of the veil. That's why I love to visit here at night when you just can't tell who's who. The problem is Leah also cannot tell who is who, because it seems her patrols have continued long after her protection of the dead in the